According to a new report, it is rumored that AMD might launch the Ryzen 7000 series in the starting of Q4, and we will have 4 CPUs in the lineup for the first batch launch. We also have the ARC A380 listed for the first time on sale, and lastly, the Nvidia Flagship Ada Lovelace GPU is set to feature up to 800 watts of power limit. We will talk about that later, so stay till the end and subscribe to follow the latest leaks on the channel. It seems like AMD will be the first one to launch next-gen CPUs this year. We have Intel and AMD both competing with each other for taking the maximum CPU share. Intel is planning to launch the Raptor Lake, while AMD has Rafale CPUs, both of which are planned to launch in the second half of this year. Intel launched its Alder Lake CPUs last year in November, so most likely the Raptor Lake won't hit the market before the same month this year too, particularly when there is very little detail about the exact launch date of Raptor Lake CPUs. But according to a new report, AMD Ryzen 7000 CPUs can officially launch for sale on September 15th. AMD held a small presentation for local retailers and distributors in China. Twitter user WXNod shared a picture where on the screen we can see the AM5 socket, and just above that we can see the numbers 9 and 15 with some Chinese words. The user confirmed that it is the launch date of AM5 socket, which means both AM5 and Ryzen 7000 processors are probably going to launch on 15 September, and this does seem correct as it coincides with AMD's official slide where it says that the Ryzen 7000 is coming in the fall. The first batch is set to include 4 desktop processors. Greymon says that these will be the 7600X, 7800X, 7900X and the flagship 7950X CPUs. The 7600X is set to feature 6 cores and 12 threads, featuring a clock speed of 5.2 GHz and will cost around $300 US. Next we have the 7800X with 8 cores and 16 threads, clocked at 5.3 GHz with a TDP of 105 watts. It is speculated that it will have a MSRP of $450 US. The 7900X is set to feature 12 cores and 24 threads, clocked at 5.4 GHz and an increased TDP range of 105 to 170 watts. This can cost somewhere around $600, but the flagship CPU is going to have the maximum number of cores and threads, that is 16 cores and 32 threads clocked at 5.5 GHz at a cost of around $750 to $800. Greymon says that 7700X is also there but won't be in the first batch for the launch, and most probably we will see more processors after a few months of the launch, just as AMD added more CPUs to the Ryzen 5000 family. Next up, the ARC A380 Photon from Gunner was recently spotted on Intel JD Web Store, where it was listed for 3,999 RMB including the VAT. It equals to $595 US, which is almost 4 times the actual MSRP. The card is currently out of stock, and the most obvious reason for its high price is the fact that Intel did not plan it to launch separately but to be sold with the pre-built systems. So it might be the case that the seller just took off the GPU from a pre-built system to sell the card separately. And lastly, a new rumor suggests that Nvidia's flagship AD102 GPU is going to feature a whopping 800 watts of power limit. Now don't get it confused with the TDP because both are different. The power limit here is the maximum power that can be applied to the board as set by board partners and manual overclocking. This sets a lock on overclocking to reach a value higher than the suggested power limit. This means that although the official TDP of the card can be somewhere around 450 to 600 watts depending on the edition, the power consumption can go as high as 800 watts if the AIBs or user wants. So get ready to buy a power supply that may cost as high as a fully built gaming PC. This power limit, however, is not that high considering the other RTX 40 series GPUs. AD103 and 104 are set to feature 400 to 450 watts of power limit, and the AD106 is going to feature a max power limit of only 260 watts. Meanwhile, Copite also listed the power limit of these 3 GPUs for laptops ranging from 140 to 175 watts. That is insanely high and can result in thicker and heavier gaming laptops, as the GPUs will require better cooling solutions. Also, this could lead a faster battery depletion that doesn't look right. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Also, I have a video on the ARC A380 right here if you want to know about its specs and performance. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.